No, that was the Russians. Yeah, should have his license, didn't it? Yep. That's the reason why I'm doing this. Yep. He'll never be able to drive a car because of what he did. Yep. I know what he did. He went looking for him, didn't he? Yep. Why did he go looking for him? Because of that thought? Or because that was his thought? What? I'm fixing things that don't need to be fixed. I won't be taking my medication anymore. I'm not trying to make my brain turn to stone. Yeah. It's mud. It just resembles clay because of its properties. Yep. The minerals are chemically bond within the mud, and it looks like clay, but yeah. But she didn't. She was giving me a hickey. I'm not gonna tell my mom. I love you, Mom. Alright, I gotta go somewhere. Figure out my quest. Report to my quest. Give her. Mm-hmm. So what are they doing? Yep. This place is gonna get raided, guys. So how were they hiding it? Yep. That's what they were doing. Yep. Where? At Whitney. Who's the bank workers? Yep. A lot of families around here did that. Yep. That's why I said they're all going to jail. Thanks guys for keeping me separate from them. Long enough for me to find out who did that. Yep. Where does the evidence lead? It was Joey siphoning off the money. Yep. Putting it into his businesses. Yep. That's the reason why he started working, because he tried to start taking responsibility for nothing. Yep. That's the reason why I waved him high. I just kept on walking by. Yep. It's Dark Souls all over again, guys. Yep. Cheers, my zombies are coming, guys. It really shouldn't have happened, but I knew that was going to. Yep. See you guys in 9 days. Audrey really is a zombie. That's what happens when you run too much. Whenever I'm connected to another person. And yes, I know, Ashley. So calm down, Ashley. Quit being weird, sexy woman. Yeah, in 2 months. Maybe 3. Don't tell me. Don't try to come and pass at me and come and act like you're gonna do what you wanna do. Don't ever tell me anything, Ashley. Tell me nothing, weirdo. You're weirdo, Ashley. Freaking weirdo, Ashley. Sexy weirdo.
I know when people having relationships beforehand. What? Shut up, Bernie.
lie to you.
I heard this was the city to hire heroes. So far, I'm not convinced. Me? Why, I'm only the best sea captain to ever sail the trackless sea. I did runs up and down the Sword Coast from Neverwinter to Fireshear, the gateway to Icewind Dale. The Speaker of Caer Konig commissioned me to come in search of heroes who wish to tame that wilderness and help the people of the region make the most of a new resource they've discovered. Black ice. This is not something you undertake lightly, though. If you want passage on my ship, you'll need a recommendation from Sergeant Knox. And you'll need to be carrying some truly fine gear. In short, you'll have to be at the top of your game.
How's it going, viewer? Chocolate Asian. All right. I did not know that you were watching. I was doing stuff and not talking at all. And I'm trying to find a way to unlock new missions, so that's what I'm doing.
I've discovered something valuable. Are you worthy enough to claim it?
Wow. Level 60. Alright, but yeah, how does it go, person? How are you doing? I'm doing well. Doing good, quite good.
Bahamut, grant us the strength to face the trials ahead.
That's right, actually. Alright, I'm by myself. And, people are dumb. Alright, it's a really cool name, Chocolate Asian. And, let's see here. Let's try to come up with a topic. A lot of times when I was younger, I would wish there was like a place I could go to hang out sometimes. And a lot of times people didn't understand the reasons why I left the place that I did, because my mom didn't allow me to stay at her house. Because, I don't know, she just didn't like me that much. No, it's probably because I did some pretty raunchy things at her house sometimes. And didn't respect her home. So, that's the reason why. It's the reason why I'm being punished. Or things like that. I'm not a terrible person or anything like that. I'm just not the best. So, there were a lot of times when I, would try to decide something, or try to make something happen, or try to do something that involved, like, being better, I guess, as a certain person sometimes. I would try to I would try to evaluate my own emotions sometimes, because I felt peculiar, because of people who decided that I was a vagrant or a pervert or things like that. And also, people have to understand the reasons why certain people feel the way they do. They want to express themselves in certain ways, and when they don't get to express themselves in certain ways, they have to understand that people out there really need to understand that people need to express themselves in certain ways. Yeah, they do. They really need to express themselves, and they really need to realize that people who need to start expressing themselves. It's like, I don't get sometimes in religion where they decide where you're supposed to be able to express yourself, at how you're supposed to be able to express yourself, and the way you're supposed to present yourself sometimes. And maybe it's just me and the way that I was raised, I guess. So maybe that's what I just experienced religion, and I realized that it's never going to change. So
map, hero.
They're always going to keep out a bunch of information at the UN because of the Pope and a bunch of different religious places that are completely and utterly against trying to put people up on a pedestal. Yeah. Their belief and all the people who believe in all that stuff, they're never going to be actually doing that stuff, and it sucks. But in some ways, it keeps people safe. In other ways, it gives a face, or tries to give a face to the victim. And in certain ways, sometimes people don't understand is that as soon as it's done, sometimes it'll stay in their psyche, something that they saw or something that they were doing. So realization of fact is that people can be complete douchebags sometimes. People can get a very, very true amount of what they think they want and then try to take all of it because they think they want it. And they haven't asked that person to be able to actually take it. And what gets me in a fit or maybe a tantrum is that people don't realize that there are so many reasons why people like to keep things private, but there are also so many reasons why, if there are any inconsistencies, then people have to tell the truth about themselves to be able to understand that things weren't happening the way that they thought they were. And people were just coming up with some sort of emotional, how's it going, viewer? If you would like to message me about this, you can. I'm talking about not just relationship emotions, but serious emotions that people put down within themselves every single day. And because I'm talking about this, I want to talk about something. So I want to talk about something. So what do you want to talk about, Chocolate Asian or a person viewing? Because alright, let's see if we can. Okay, there are a lot of times in a person's life when they go through certain things that are traumatic, and things that they can't hold back on or pull back on. But understandably so, sometimes they don't really understand where their relationship is actually going. They just think that it'll stay the way that it is, and they don't understand that relationships evolve all the time. So realizations of fact is that people's stubbornness can stop a relationship from going to where it needs to be. And that's usually what happened to me sometimes. I would find out something, I would know something that they were completely and utterly interested in, and I realized that they weren't interested in me the full amount. I wasn't always in a full relationship, or I wasn't trying to always just be a part of a relationship. I definitely was trying to have fun most of the time, but and realization of fact is that there were a lot of times where I believed that person would never try to talk to me in certain areas, or never try to be a part of my life in certain places. So the reason why I think that certain people, and also I don't know if my Wi-Fi is that good, but if you're cycling out and in and out, I might have to block you. So just letting you know. I'm not looking for views. I'm not looking for followers. I'm looking for people that want a discussion, and that's the whole reason why I'm doing this. So I'm gonna have to realize that people are using the Wi-Fi signal, but also too, I'm gonna have to understand that I have been on the entire system play the entire time, and it's douchey to kind of do that, you know. So I don't know, that's whatever. But lots of people decide to do different things and say different things that they think are the same kind of emotional distancing or emotional superlative viewpoints, I guess, as far as superseding something. They think that somehow they're better than someone else because they do something differently, or because they think they don't realize that it's just a different way. The reason why a lot of people don't realize that some people don't understand that there are a lot of different things going on sometimes, and in people's lives they decide to sign people up for stuff, and whether they were ready for a certain situation or whether they were acted appropriately to in those certain situations, it remains to be seen, but understandably so. The realization of fact is that people don't understand what gets them sometimes. They don't understand what actually tries to what's the word? Because there are minerals and constant pathogens and stuff like that. Not pathogens, but minerals that kind of affect what you're doing sometimes because of the ionic bonds that are inside of your own head and your own brain as well. But understandably so, people don't realize that they don't have those ionic bonds sometimes, and it can very much make them feel their brainstem sometimes. They realize that they look back into certain things and are able to get back, what's the word? Let's see here. They're able to try to get back certain things for themselves. And that's usually what they use it for. And usually, I think what people actually understand is that through distancing oneself in a situation, they think their emotions will get the better of them and make them do something that they wouldn't normally do. That's usually the reasons why people say that they need Jesus or say something like that. Like, you change the situation around given your certain emotion. Sometimes that's what they usually mean. Something like they say you need Jesus, but you understand that you don't in any way. No one ever does, and understand that. No one ever needs Jesus. No one ever needs to be around him, because if he's got followers, then he's got followers. Understandably so, he's not that great of a director, but not to say that he's ever directed any movies, but he did a really terrible one and it ended his death. It was a really terrible one. It was really bad. It was depressing the entire way through. So if religion wanted to put a guilt trip on absolutely everyone because of one man's death that didn't deserve it, then that's the reason why. Or also have a fight that lasts over 3,000 to 4,000 years because they lied and then they started over and then they fought again. Or because they somehow believed that animals to be completely divine and certain animals to be unedible. Understandably so, that will give them an allergy to the animal because they will constantly realize that the bugs that are around it will constantly try to eat them. Or a lot of different things. There are so many different reasons why people will lose faith in their religion, and I realized that I shouldn't have put faith in a religion in the first place. I should have mostly put religion in my not religion. I'm stupid. I'm not a god. It's dumb. I should have mostly put faith in myself, and I tried to realize that that there were certain things that I wanted to get in my life and I wanted to have in my life, no matter if I ever chose a religion or not. The realization of fact is that mostly people realize certain things because of knowledge, and they don't realize where they get that knowledge from sometimes. And it's a library, and it floats around everywhere. It's always through the universe, right, guys? Right. Awesome. It's a library. It's protected by cannibals. And there's razor wire everywhere. Also, there's mini nukes that shoot out if you try to grab it. A whole bunch of mini nukes. They just all shoot at you at once, and then werewolves show up, and they're like, "Where did all these mini nukes come from, guys? We're activated by the mini nukes." Jeez, guys. And they run around and start biting people and stuff. I don't know what they do at all, really. They just probably just walk around and not hurt anyone. But they just walk around. They patrol. They're probably witnesses, something like that. You know, chilling out. The real witnesses. You know, those people. All right, cool. So yeah, now we know that there's mini nukes in the library, and at libraries floating through the universe doing nothing, because people don't even have it. They're just completely out there thinking that there's other worlds around. It's not that, guys. Calm down. Jeez. Like there's a universe surrounding us. Like, for real, guys? Or like how Spaceballs insinuated that there are people out there with a huge amount of alchemy that have turned what an entire universe looks like into a vacuum, so they can take all the oxygen out of the universe because they don't like it, and it sets things on fire. Understandably so, that's what it's supposed to do, because if you didn't have that, then you wouldn't be able to light your stove. And then you'd have to find out the Jedi powers, and you have to put your hand over the rice as it boiled on your stove that doesn't work. And then you'd have to breathe out fire out of your hand. All the stretches, right, guys? All the stretches. I think I want to find out what the fuck people are trying to do. The fuck are those dudes trying to do when they're the heck are those dudes trying to do? Sorry for the cursing. Actually, the heck are those dudes trying to do if they're freaking doing a bunch of different stupid stuff, trying to control the wind, trying to control their aura and shit. They don't know how to do that. They ought to do it the same way first, because they have to learn a base for our foundation for whatever. What? Nothing, guys. That's from a bunch of different movies that I saw about Asian culture. So yeah, there's a lot of times where people cheat on video games, and they cheat on video games because they have wireless hacking abilities or devices that are hooked up to their PS4s or something that's close to the PS4 that uses a signal that messes with people's stuff. And people are going to understand that those things are going to be kaput once they run when the, what's the word? Oh, that guy. Okay, cool. The NSA. is it fries a circuit inside of your thing and then stops whatever's happening. And then what they'll do is they'll make you believe that you have powers. They'll make you believe you have powers, and then they will make you out yourself for the person that you are. A hacker. They will make you get really angry and act like you're going to make money. And that's how you get your PS4 pulled, guys. Because PlayStation has been monitoring people's activity for a very, very long time. And their hack was not Russia. I do believe they hack things sometimes for competitions. And yeah, the numbers and lots of stuff got leaked to different government organizations that were trying to find out what kind of kids were doing stupid shit. And it turns out sometimes they were doing things because of different servers that were sometimes in the area. Flying overhead, sometimes people would put servers like Elon Musk put a car in the in the space, right? Some people would just float around servers. They thought they were amazing, didn't realize that they would start making signals. And when they started making signals, they started attaching to those signals. And a lot of times people's satellites would get confused. And that's sometimes what you've heard, a fake news story. In Russia, sometimes. It's the reason why I know, because I've studied radar signals sometimes. I watched my captain's radar thing, and I realized that it's using a light sensor to be able to see motion and surface ability. And that's the reason why I noticed that a lot of different times, if they're sending radar signals or whatever kind of signals to be able to try to see the surface of the world, that's usually how they got Google. But understandably so, it's not the reason why they got Google, because they had separate satellites that didn't or ever weren't involved with one another. Because see, they have their own separate lines of communication, and that's the reason why they have those security things. So Russia keeps their fake news stories out of, yes, all their fake news stories. There we go, guys. Awesome. Glad to hear it. High five, everyone. We're in high five and air high five. Awesome. Glad to hear it. We all did it. We're all great. I'm alone, and I just saw this from a bunch of different things that people decided to say about themselves. A lot of people who were really, really powerful celebrities, where their money went, I have no idea, but hopefully it didn't go in those servers, because then they got hacked and their bank accounts got leaked. The reason why they don't have any money and their investments didn't go through is because they didn't know the right people. If they didn't know the right people, then their money got stolen. That's what happens. Your money isn't just going places sometimes. There's scams and people who do things that are stupid. That's the reason why you don't follow the first contract of something. You don't ever follow the first contract of something, especially if you're doing something very, very high security. Like, say, selling dirt online. Or doing something completely stupid, like trying to leak bank account secrets through emails. You know, that kind of stuff. Hillary Clinton. Granted, she might have done it all inadvertently, because the Russian government knows how to manipulate people and suggest them to saying different things that they've seen or heard of, because that's what they hid in those little fake news stories sometimes. A code. And that's the reason why I knew the code, because I started seeing those news stories a lot. So they had other people that would repeat those news stories, thinking that they were just saying them because the things were happening again. Understandably so. I saw that story when I was about 16, right about the time when 9/11 happened. So people are going to understand that they got their signals mixed up with a Russian satellite. So they're going to have to understand that that's the reason why there's probably a lot of interference. That's the reason probably why. And they're going to understand that that's the reason why all those news stories have already happened. A lot of those news stories have already happened. Some of those news stories never even happened at all. Alright, we're going to realize that we lost viewers, not because of anything, but because of people who were trying to gain information, and they have no idea that all this stuff is available in the Library of Congress. It's available, it's declassified, they know about the satellites, and they're shutting them down. Because that's the reason why he had guidance systems. Now, all of them had guidance systems, including Kim Jong-un and a whole bunch of different people who had guidance systems for no reason. No reason at all, right, guys? Alright, they're shutting them down as we speak, guys. Taking them apart, bringing them somewhere else. They're gonna act like the satellites are still there, but realize that they're not there. Realize they're not, because they're not there. Alright. Understandably so, that's the reason why they think they can shoot a missile into space. And they've been shooting nothing but small missiles because they only have one big one. And that one's probably not even nuclear. Understandably so, that's probably the reasons why he tried to shoot a bunch of missiles, because he wants to think that somehow he's going to get confidence and his people will be safe. Understandably so, that's the reason why the U.S. gave them aid and told them they had their backs. Unfortunately so, Kim Jong-un decided to go in a different direction, because he's an asshole. He's an asshole and an idiot, and doesn't know when to stop, because that's the reason why he's a dumbass. We gave him aid, and then we had to stop, because he kept using it to kill his people. Because he's a dumbass and an idiot, and doesn't know when to stop, because he doesn't know when to stop, because he's a douchebag, because he's a dumbass and an asshole and a piece of worm. Alright. He looks like a pug that ate too much cotton candy. Alright. So, gonna realize their satellites are gone. All their satellite systems that are trying to guide their missiles anywhere outside of their country is gone. Their guidance systems are gone. All their base are gone. Alright, guys. Gonna realize as soon as they intercepted that signal, a bunch of different news stories trying to flow through certain things. They were trying to break through a firewall. All that other different stuff that happened. And that's the reason why people are going to have to understand the reason why all those news stories kept floating through different people's news stations is because they didn't have proper security systems. And fortunately so, that's the reason why Elon Musk made a flamethrower. Because he thought that he didn't have anything else to do. Alright, guys. That's the reason why he made a flamethrower, because he thought his job was finished now. Or at least one job was finished, and they have many jobs, so it's really great. Alright, guys. That's the reason why I made a flamethrower. And flamethrower, not a flamethrower. That's Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. They're not that famous anymore. Not famous at all. Not famous to me, because they just sucked and fucked and smoked a cigar. Alright. There may have been a lot more jobs because people were realizing that as soon as Hillary Clinton tried to take over, people started getting, what's the word? Not weary at all. More confident, guys. They were more confident with a woman as president. That's the reason why I voted for Jill Stein. She had nothing to do with Trump. They make deals all the time, though, and when they are seen together, people assume things. And then the Russian satellites decided to try to shut on one more good time, and then they got shut down. Alright. Realizing that they got shut down again, and then they'll be dismantled, taken back to them, and then turned into a car. Alright, turned into a car, and then thrown wherever Vladimir Putin has been standing this entire time. Because he's been standing in a what's the word? In a swamp. I don't know if he's going to try to stand in the swamp. Hopefully he shouldn't realize they shouldn't try to stand there, because there's gators. They can smell him. And they're not friendly. Alright, guys. We're going to realize that Vladimir Putin is a stupid ass who thinks that he can talk to animals. He might have had a bad acid trip. Alright, guys. We're going to realize he thinks he's some sort of god. He has no idea that he is not that. Because that's just a projection, guys. Jeez. That's all it was. It's just a hologram of different messages that people left. Star Wars is fake. Sorry to break it to you guys. I know you had so much faith in Mark Hamill, but Star Wars is fake. And if it ever happened, then all the celebrities would be terrorists. It didn't happen, luckily. Hopefully, they realized there was nothing real about Star Wars. There's stuff real about, like, you can move stuff with your mind, but it's dumb when you try to pick up something and then something else moves. If that ever happened, you're a dumbass. So realize that. And if you really all right, we're gonna realize that people are trying to laugh sometimes. We're just gonna make sure they laugh all the time, because
My spells are
all right, guys. Alright, guys, people are just gonna realize that there are things out there and people out there that are gonna make businesses better. All those stupid satellites that whoever put up there isn't gonna be named anymore. Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un, Kim Jong-il. Alright, they're gonna realize they did that in a moment of stupor. And then they're gonna come to a conclusion. They're still stupid. Doesn't matter what their intentions were, it's the fact that they did it. That's the problem. And hopefully they realize they'll have wonderful lives in space-time land, wherever they float off to. Alright. Space-time land. It's not awesome. It's not amazing, but it is space. Time land. Space time land. Alright, guys. We're gonna realize that that people out there are beautiful, wonderful, amazing people. They're amazing and awesome, and they're the coolest people ever. And they're cool. They're gonna understand that there are a lot of people out there that are beautiful, wonderful, and amazing, and they're also going to realize that if they ever tried to stick something somewhere without someone's permission, they're going to understand that I felt it. I felt it right as I was sitting down to be able to enjoy a wonderful cup of tea with my friends in Mississippi. I had a cup of tea, I was going to drink it, and then I felt something rumble, and I was like, guys, I gotta go to the bathroom. So I went home to the bathroom. Didn't go to their bathroom, because their bathroom is terrible. It's the smallest goddamn place I've ever seen in my entire life. Hopefully people realize they need to understand that the quaintness of a small bathroom that looks like they just decided to put together an entire piece of something, and then realize that it doesn't get any bigger. Also realize that if people don't realize that needs to have soap in there, they're going to realize that everyone has not washed their hands for literally the entire time they've been drinking, talking, and deciding to put their fingers in their mouth. Or throwing up all over the bar. You know, that happens too. Sometimes. Understandably so.
So, I'm just talking. I'm talking, making jokes here. It's the reason why I do things. I say things and stuff like that, and I understand that people are dumb sometimes. They think they're the best. And they think they're absolutely the best. And they think that somehow there's some sort of thing out there that's gonna like project something, give them some sort of message. It's probably gonna be a middle finger. Not gonna give me a message. I don't need a goddamn message, so. You know what the middle finger means? It means we evolved. That's why. It means if Jesus actually did get his way, we would have a middle finger, and it would be what's the word? A fleshy weird thing on our middle finger that kept all our other fingers in check. So Jesus didn't get his way. Alright, guys? Understand that and realize that he walked off because he was a zombie. Alright, guys. He's been trying to draw pictures a bunch. Also, really stupid. Extremely stupid. And also dumb. Because people who need to change or need to get themselves out of a certain situation will usually get themselves out of a certain situation. If they don't know and they need help, usually they're helped by someone in the area. When they're not helped by someone in the area, and someone tries to bring a whole bunch of stuff and say that, hey guys, I helped, people get suspicious and say, how did you help? Why did you help? Why did you do anything? Did you do anything at all actually? And then when people start to talk and try to make things up, they don't believe them, and then they walk away and then go home. That's what happens in places that people are, I'd say, poor or something like that, or they don't need a lot of money because they know a whole bunch of different stuff because they have listened to their parents and told them everything they know. So, you know, that's the reason why. And also the parents have parents have come down from their work or something like that to their home to be able to help people and let people know that there's stuff that's all right now. And how's it going, second viewer? If you would like to talk to me, then you can message me right there. It's really cool. That's usually the reasons why people do things sometimes. People see someone do something and they expect they admire them, but they have to realize that people don't want help sometimes because of people's tariffs that are completely and utterly terrible. They're tax tariffs, and that's the reason why the countries sometimes don't get along. It has a lot to do sometimes with racism, but understandably so, it has a lot more to do with taxes. It's the reason why the EU is in the way that it is right now, and the reasons why some people actually gave them benefits sometimes, and the reasons why the United States is mostly united, all united, on certain issues, because we used to give people breaks on stuff. Like, there were certain enactions we had to make to be able to make sure that taxes across borders didn't happen for certain transactions. And that's what became the military discount. So, if a military decides that they're going to sell dirt or sell anything, then they don't have to be taxed on it. So, it's a good thing to use that whenever you're speaking to a military-to-military basis. If you ever want to be able to just work together and be able to do things together instead of constantly kind of bickering about certain things, if you all have certain militaries, then you can all talk to each other pretty easily over public communications. And the reason why no one pays attention to that is because it's usually just dried goods. That's it. It's usually just dried goods and certain things that people know aren't gonna it's basic goods. There's no reason to actually look at that stuff. But unfortunately, so there's some people that like to come up with some sort of code and they're hackers because they're hackers, and then that code is dismantled and brought apart, and then realize that they're using certain kind of different things to be able to create some sort of fear that is within a government, or understandably so, not realizing that everyone knows that the governments aren't ready yet to converge, or people aren't ready yet to actually become a complete union because of the things that we do sometimes to people, and not the same things we do sometimes to people, the things that we do to be able to create a utopia for people that are things that other people do. I don't do it because I'm all on disability and stuff. So a lot of times people decide that they're going to do something. They're going to create something. They're going to make something. So what they have to do is understand that if it's a dried good, or if it's sent as a dried good, that's the reason why it has no tax. Understandably so, that's also the reasons why some places tried to use it to be able to send drugs through things, because they thought that it didn't go through customs. It does go through customs all the time. You have to understand that and realize that most countries who just kept the stuff, that's the reason why they're having problems. And that's the reason why some places aren't going to make money, because they know what businesses they own. And some places are going to understand that those businesses aren't going to make money because they used to be gangs, and then they just got money from the state because they told them they would blow it up. So that's what they did. So that's the reason why they're not going to get any money, guys. All right. I'm stupid, and I say things sometimes that get me in trouble. But understandably so, not with anyone that ever even matters to me. Ever. So, like Vladimir Putin, all those other different people, they're on the other side of the globe. They have their own problems. They're doing whatever they do. So, you know, hopefully trying to make a better tomorrow for them, for their country, instead of pissing people off and making them throw shit because they thought they had something and then it turned out to be completely illegal and they didn't know anything about it. So kind of inform your people a little bit more, Vladimir Putin. Or don't do anything and let your other people do it for you, because you might be voted out of office this election coming up. You might be, because people have been really pissed off for a while because of certain corruptions and different things like that. But you're going to change, Putin. You know you're going to change. You're going to try to run again. But understandably so. Hopefully they don't fucking let you, because god damn it, you know. Have a good day, and be yourselves, and you can defuse situations before they happen. Not just by talking about random people who assume they're dictators, even though they're in socialist regimes. And they know they're in socialist regimes because they constantly try to protect themselves from everyone and everything, and it just looks that more suspicious than anything else. It's really dumb. And be yourselves, and understand that there are people out there that want to help. And also, Star Wars isn't real, you know? Because even if it was real, then it really wouldn't happen the way that actually people said it would. Because those machines would not be able to do that stuff. If they're anything, they'd be Transformers. Yeah, no ship can do that. No circular ship or oval tear-shaped cut off. No ship like that could literally levitate like that unless it was made of a certain metal that can make things levitate. That'll probably exist very soon. Understandably so, it's probably going to be in certain places where people can't go. So big companies are going to try to get it first. Understandably so too, they're going to realize that that's probably tied to something that's very, very important. So realize that if there's something bigger underneath it, don't fucking touch it. And realize that. And no volcanoes, guys. No more volcanoes. Have a good day, guys. You are your own one-man metaphorical bomb squad, and you can defuse situations before they happen. You can make a bit different day and realize that tomorrow is better. And I do live streams because I come up with this stuff on the fly, and most of the time I'm either inspired by somebody that I've listened to or watched, or it's usually just my brand of comedy when I was a young kid, and a lot of people didn't get it, but they're gonna understand that it's a lot funnier than people might think. So thank you for listening and watching, if you ever do.